My name is Rosie Marco, and I am a senior account executive at JD Advising. And with me here today, I have Alexis, who is a recent Michigan bar exam taker. And I know a lot of you have been wondering and asking questions about what it's like to take a remote exam. And Alexis is here to answer some of those questions and hopefully ease some of your anxiety. So, Alexis, can you talk a little bit about when and where you took the exam?
So I took the July 2020 exam, which took place on July 28th. I took it from about 8 a.m. to it ended about 3:30 p.m. and I took it in my basement.
Great. What software did you use?
So we used ExamSoft and their exam software, I believe, is called Examplify.
Did you have to set up your room in a certain way at all?
So as long as I complied with the BLE's instructions, I could set it up in any way that I wanted to, but really what it came down to was removing everything from the room. So anything, writing utensils, books, papers, everything that was taken out. The only thing in the room that I had was my laptop charger, an extra lamp just for light so that they could scan my face properly. And other than that, everything else was out of the room.
Did you have to do a test at all beforehand?
So, in order to actually take the bar exam, we were required to take two practice exams. The first one just made sure our computer was compatible with the software and would work, especially with the facial recognition software. And our second practice exam was more practicing the actual what the format of the software looked like. And we had an hour timer so that we could time ourselves as to what a module would feel like because our exam was comprised of 5 modules at 1 hour each. And in each of them, we had 3 questions. So we had our practice exam had 3 questions in it, and we got to practice with those.
Now, did you have any technical issues at all?
So we had a few technical glitches, and they kind of affected the trajectory of the rest of the day. As I said, we had 5 modules. And after the first module, it was fine. Leading up to module 2 is when everything kind of went kerflooey. We had to log on to a website in order to get a password to log in to each module. So at the beginning of module 2, the website crashed. So it was very nerve wracking having to deal with that. But on top of that, it delayed when we would take module 2, and then that in turn would delay when we took module 3, and so on. But because I was lucky enough that my delay wasn't as exaggerated as other people's, my second module finished 1 minute before module 3 was set to start. And I was a bit afraid of not being able to log into module 3, so I just went right into it. And after that, I didn't have any technical issues. So really, it was just the website crashing after before module 2 that was the major thing. But the BLE handled it very swiftly and promptly and as best they could.
Well, that's good at least that it didn't become a greater issue than that. What would you say were some advantages or disadvantages taking a remote exam?
So, advantages definitely that I did not have to go to Lansing to take the exam. I got to take it from the comfort of my own home. I also didn't have to sit for a 2 day exam. Our bar exam consisted of 1 day where it was only the Michigan essay, so we did not have the MBE multiple choice. Disadvantages, I had to take the exam at home, which meant I had to deal with all of the distractions that I have. So I live with my mom. So she was gracious enough that day to be out of the house, but dealing with schedules and especially with the global pandemic that we're experiencing, you can't just say, hey, maybe if you go to Starbucks for an hour or two. This was figuring out how to take an exam on top of somebody else's schedule. But I also had to deal with our lawn care maintenance, and there were painters outside, and I was really nervous that outside noises were going to distract me or maybe they might flag me. So I was really nervous about that. And that's probably the biggest disadvantage of taking an online bar exam is you have to worry not only about the substance of the exam, but also all of the unknowns, whether it's people that you live with or other distractions, things like that.
With that being said, do you have any recommendations of students who have to take a remote exam?
So I would definitely say breathe as much as possible because it's an unknown. Things are bound to happen. And you can't let that affect you when you go in to actually physically write the exam because when that first technical glitch happened after or during module 2, it messed with my head a little bit. So I would definitely recommend trying to remain as calm as possible, but also trying to schedule as best you can. Don't schedule any deliveries. If you live with roommates, make sure they know the importance of the exam and what you're doing, how long you're going to be doing it. But that being said, if something unexpected does happen, don't let it affect you and just try to ride the wave and just deal with it as best you can.
That's really great advice, and I'm sure a lot of people will find that incredibly useful and beneficial. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. I know there are a lot of other students who are going to sit for the exam coming up in the next few weeks, who I am sure appreciate any advice and recommendation you've had for them. So thank you.
No problem. And I wish everybody luck.